everybody, it's Michelle Hill, your legacy builder at Winning Proof. And today I have a special guest, Larry Long. And I am going to read, before I say welcome, Larry, I'm going to read a brief part of his bio and then let him explain to you what he is, who he is, and what he does. So, Larry is an experienced sales leader with a demonstrated history of success in SaaS sales, and he is passionate about coaching and helping sales professionals hit goals and take their game to the next level. Larry continuously seeks out opportunities to learn and grow, and he's driven to help others achieve best they can be results. Larry lives the words, "Don't stop, get it, get it." So welcome, Larry.
Oh, Michelle, thank you so much. I am super excited to be here with you, Winning Proof. I appreciate that kind introduction. You're making me blush.
Well, I'm glad that I can make you blush.
Doesn't happen very often.
That is great. So I just want to preface saying, getting into the questions by saying I have heard Larry on We Are Connected, and you will have seen my interview with Ed Dudley probably before this goes live. And Larry brings it. That's all I can say. And I know that he has let me see, I have it here somewhere. That was my first question. Midday Motivational Minute that I watch on LinkedIn. And he's still energetic. So I know you've, spoken, like I said, at LinkedIn. You're doing this Motivational Minute segments on LinkedIn. What keeps you perpetually energized? And I know somebody asks this every single time you're on video because they just want to know.
Oh, goodness. You're far too kind. And honestly, my motivation every day on this earth is just a beautiful blessing. And I believe there's a saying, carpe diem. And I met a gentleman 2 days ago, actually, no, yesterday, Wednesday, who had a tattoo of carpe diem and a tattoo of carpe noctem. Seize the day, seize the night. I said, ooh, you're going to double dip chocolate chip on me there. But it's really, I believe it's our responsibility that every day we have on this earth, we should make the most of it. And Martin Luther King Jr. is one of my favorite quotes. His quote goes something to the effect of, life's most urgent and persistent question is, what are you doing to help others? So for me, I asked that question, Larry, you woke up, your 2 feet hit the ground. What are you doing to serve? What are you doing to help assist? What are you doing for others, whether that's family, whether it's friends, colleagues, strangers? That is the question. And if you can't get motivated by that, you better check your pulse, because there's nothing better, from my opinion, there's nothing better than having an impact for the positive on other people's lives. I mean, I've had the opportunity, I've really been blessed. Used to own an indoor baseball and softball academy. We have one kid that worked out with us, Evan Phillips. He was 10 at the time, I think, who plays professional baseball. He's in the big leagues, pitcher. Every other kid is doing something else to make money, to be productive. And I love it when my old students hit me up on LinkedIn. Hey, Coach Larry, I'll never forget those lessons you taught me. Head down, eye on the ball, but also goal setting. Setting goals, creating a plan, and then following that game plan, executing on it, but also reconfiguring, being flexible and making adjustments. That right there is all I need to make me realize, hey, you're doing the right thing. Keep it going. Keep up the awesome work that I'm trying to do.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And you have a wife and 2 kids that you, I'll say manage along with all your other, professional duties. So just for those who feel like, oh my gosh, how can I balance everything? How can I make this happen? How do you do it? How do you manage your family, spend time with the wife and kids, quality time, and fulfill your professional goals too?
I'm going to be honest with you, Michelle, barely. I'm just keeping it real. I am not going to sugarcoat it. It is tough, but we have an understanding. My wife and I, we communicate well. We have an understanding that right now I've got a full-time job, and then I'm also building and growing a business, and my family is my priority. And in addition, they're supportive that, hey, we understand that in this season of life, there's going to be some trade-offs. I've had to make some trade-offs as well. I'm a huge golfer. I love the golf. If you saw my swing, you would say, oh, you're a gopher or a hacker, not a golfer, but it's close enough. But I've had to make some adjustments with my golf schedule that I've had to ratchet it back, that I can't play as much as I normally would, because that's the time that I need to spend with my family. So it really comes down to prioritization. It comes to intentionality, being intentional with where you spend your time. There's a saying that, show me your calendar, show me where you spend your time, and I can tell you what's important to you.
Yes.
So to answer your question, time management is a challenge, but it's one of those things where documenting and really being intentional with, this is the time. Every day after work, we go on our little neighborhood walk, myself and my 2 kids. My son and I normally play football. We play catch, run routes, but every now and again, we're not able to do that. So we'll either try to move it up earlier in the day, or we'll just say, hey, today we're going to chalk that up as an L. It's a loss, but we'll make it up some other time. So it's one of those balancing acts that I don't know the perfect answer to. I don't know if anyone does. If someone claims to know the answer, I'm going to question and say, I don't know. But essentially, you've got to find what works best for you.
Yeah, without a doubt. And your kids will never say, and I think we've talked about this maybe in a prior conversation, is that your kids are never going to say at the end of your life, I wish Dad had spent more time at the office. I wish he wasn't here as much as he was. You're never going to hear those words.
So true. And you can't, my daughter just turned 7. You can never get that time back. And I've really been fortunate enough to have opportunities professionally that allow flexibility personally to be able to put family first, faith first, and be able to do the things that I like in the order that I like. In the past, I have had to make some tough decisions and some adjustments and some concessions just given the circumstance. And it's one of those things where you got to do what you got to do. But if you're given the opportunity to be able to hold fast and stand strong, there's no better and more amazing feeling than being able to accomplish what you want to accomplish at that time.
Oh man, that is so true. And I'm sure that you have days where you just feel like the wheels are coming off the wagon. And
I'm gonna tell you a little secret, Michelle. Every day. I mean, it's one of those things, and I saw it posted earlier today. Someone said, I like to act like a duck, calm and cool on the surface and paddling like all get out underneath. That would be the story of my life. I try my best to keep it calm, cool, and collected, but really there's a lot motoring, and this motor doesn't stop until I go to sleep. And even when I'm sleeping, the motor's still going. I keep my little notebook right by my bed. I keep multiple notebooks. I got my green one. I got my blue one. I got my black one. I got my red one, but my red one is full. That's my Terrapin, my Maryland Terrapins book. But essentially, I keep it by my bed because every now and then I'll wake up with a quote unquote brilliant idea, and I just have to put the pen to the pad so I don't forget it as I'm dreaming.
I love that. And I have a personal question for you, which isn't even on my list, but were you born like this? Were you born energetic, or was there a point in your life where you said, I got to get on the ball or I'm going to miss life? Or were you like
I'll
this?
be honest with you. I've been a spark plug since I was younger. You can ask my parents. We used to live in Nebraska, and there were tornadoes. We lived in an apartment, and when the tornadoes came, everyone had to go down to the basement. And my parents, my mom now, my father passed, but my mom tells the story of everyone is scared, they're nervous. And at the time, I'm just running around, jumping around, happy as can be. And that's just kind of in my DNA. But I will tell you, there was a defining point. When I turned 10, my younger sister was born. And I told my parents, I said, I want a twin brother. They said, we can't do that. So they gave me this little snotty-nosed sister. I said, close enough. What am I going to do with her? But essentially, I was an only child for 10 years. And now this cute little baby girl, Tiffany Nicole Long, she comes along and steals my thunder. I said, I'm not going to go down without a fight. I'm going to go down swinging. And for those that might not be able to see, I got a bat in my hand. I keep the baseball bat by my side at all times, just in case I feel like living out my Major League Baseball dreams. But essentially, I said, I better learn some magic tricks. So I know some magic card tricks. They call me Black Magic. That's off the record. I also know some jokes. They're not very good. They're pretty corny, but I had to learn how to tap dance. I said, shoot, I'm not going to let this little girl steal all my sunshine. So I would say that was when I had to 10X what I already was. And my mom laughed. She says, because my son is 11 and he's got my energy times 1,000. Hurricane Trey, he's Larry Long the third, and if you can believe it, he's me 1,000x. But my mom says this is payback for all the pain and suffering you caused us as a child. Ha ha! And she's right. The joke's on me because I love my son, but I think there's a saying: can't stop, won't stop. He never stops.
Wow. So, but it's harnessing that energy, it's letting them run wild, or harnessing it and get into sports or into hobbies or into something where they're intentionally energetic. I don't even know if that's a word or a phrase. I just made it up. Everybody, you're the first to know this. Intentional energy, I guess, would it?
So true. We try to direct him into positive and productive activities. And I can tell you that the circumstances of the pandemic with remote school has been a blessing. His behavior just in the little Zoom box has been on point. And it's just a real life testament that prayers are answered and miracles happen, because every year from kindergarten to fourth grade, it was Hurricane Trey going right through every class. He gets it from his mama. No, I'm just kidding. He gets it honestly from me.
We know it's you.
Yes, loud, center of attention, corny jokes, making people laugh when you're not supposed to make people laugh, but there's a time and a place. And now in fifth grade, a combination of remote learning, maturity, he's been a model student, thankfully, and we hope he can keep that up.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful. I love that. So let's turn a little corner and tell me about what it takes to be a great sales leader, because that's what you've been in your career, and you know a thing or two, maybe you've learned a thing or two about what it means.
Yeah, so I've really been fortunate. I've learned from so many mentors and mini mentors, the first one being my father, who was just a leader. He was never in sales, quote unquote, officially, but I think we're all in sales. And that really comes down to your definition. My definition of sales is you're playing a matchmaker between your products, services, thoughts, and or ideas with someone else's needs, wants, desires, challenges, hopes, dreams, aspirations. So as far as leadership goes, the number one most important thing from my belief and my heart is you've got to care. You got to genuinely care about those that you serve. You work for them. Sales leadership and leadership isn't managing and directing. You're serving. You've got to have a servant mindset that, hey, I'm here for you. And your success is really dictated off of my ability to get the most out of you, to inspire, to motivate, to guide, to lead by example. There's a saying, your actions speak so loud, I can't hear what you're saying, which leads to number 2, listening. How well do you listen? When you ask a question, do you actively listen, or do you just listen so that you can then speak and share how much you know and how great you are? I'm sorry, but no one cares. They don't care. People care about, do you care about them? There's a radio station, WIIFM. And essentially, if you're not tuned in, the people that you talk to are. That radio station is what's in it for me. And that's what most people are listening to throughout the day, throughout the evening. And if you're not in tune with what's in it for them, Sweet Georgia Brown says it best. Ain't nobody got time for that. So I would say, number one, you've got to care. Number two, you've got to listen. Number three, you got to know your stuff. If you come to me and you don't know your stuff, you're going to lose credibility. So essentially, do you know your stuff? Are you able to lead, guide? And you look at basketball, baseball, you look at these professional sports, the best coaches and leaders are not always the best players. So essentially, it's really having that growth mindset. And a lot of times your average players have had to really be students of the game. And that's why when folks call me a sales leader, I'm still learning. Each and every day, I'm trying to learn something new. Because if you're not learning, you're not growing. If you're not growing, you're dying. And no one wants to die.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've heard the story of Zig Ziglar being in the audience of other motivational speakers, furiously taking notes, because he was like that. He was the top dog of the motivational world, yet he was a perpetual learner. He's always taking notes, learning from the newbies that he could run circles around, really, you know.
I love it. You can always learn something from someone. And for me, some of my best lessons come from my little mini mentors, little Lucia, who just turned 7, and little man Trey, who's 11. They teach me so much. And I love the point you mentioned about Zig taking notes. When you document it, it now allows you to retain so much more than if you just try to be a hero. Oh, I can remember everything in my mind. You might think so, but when you write it down, it now becomes solidified. And then when you write it down and you put together an action plan of what you're going to do from what you learn, whoa, I call that dynamite, JJ Walker.
That's right. That's right. We all love JJ. So, yeah, that is true. And do you journal as well, like personal journaling?
I'm going to be honest with you. I started my sister as a Christmas present. It was absolutely awesome. I've got it right here. It's called the Happiness Project. So essentially every day you're supposed to write something that you're thankful for, you're grateful for. And the key to it is that it's just 1 to 2 sentences. So essentially anybody can do it on any time constraint. Well, essentially I'm breaking barriers. I found a way, and essentially I just wasn't committed. So I started it January, good. February, good. March came around, and I can use the excuse of the pandemic, but it's not. The excuse is there is no excuse. It's that person in the mirror. I just stopped. So as far as journaling, I don't officially do it. I am a furious note taker. When I meet with folks on a daily basis, I'm taking notes, I'm writing down, and I'm starring what are the key lessons learned and what do I plan on doing with what I learned from their knowledge, which is a huge help. But that little Happiness Project journal, it's collecting dust over here. I need to get back on it, and essentially ain't nothing to it but to do it.
Okay. Yeah. And that makes sense. And I can see from, I'm a journaler, not every single day, but you can see even from your sales notes that you can see your growth through the years. You can see this is where I was in this year and this year and this year. And you can really see, looking back, the growth that you have experienced. Do you see that same thing in your sales notes, even though it's a different kind of writing?
Big time, as well as it's twofold. Being able to go back and look at lessons that I call them key reminders. Those are things that but it's easy to forget. And a lot of times it's the basics. But also what my sales notes allow me to do is to go back and refresh relationships that might have gotten a little stale, that might be wilting just because we haven't put in the water, we haven't put in the sunlight. We haven't rolled up our sleeves and laid down the manure to allow the relationship to grow. So it's excellent for me to be able to go back to my 2019 notebook and see who was I meeting with, speaking with, and learning from. And then is it time for us to revisit those past conversations, either for what I can add to them and serve as a resource, and vice versa. It really works both ways.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm sure that you have never experienced a challenge in your whole life.
It's an opportunity. It's one of those where either you succeed or you learn. And I've had plenty of learnings throughout my career. We do this thing called a journey line, where it walks you through my personal journey. I've moved around 8 different cities. My professional journey, I've moved around 10 different companies. I guess you would call me a rolling stone, personally and professionally. I've been around, but it's been quite the journey. There's been highs and there's been lows. I think the millennials say YOLO, you only live once, but my life has been a yo-yo. And during this pandemic, I think we've all been on this yo-yo and roller coaster ride of going up and going down. And really the key is to keep that balance, that happy medium. It's kind of like in baseball. You go through streaks and you go through slumps. And during both of those, it's great to keep that happy medium, to stay grounded, to stay positive, and realize that, hey, your streak is going to come to an end. No streak lasts forever. Your slump is going to come to an end. Stay positive. Realize that there's light at the end of the tunnel. Right now, during the pandemic, those folks that are going to emerge stronger are those that looked at it as, hey, it's a terrible situation, check. But I'm going to use the situation and the cards that we've been dealt for the most positive experience and for the positive that I can. And how can I give? How can I help others so that I myself can come out even stronger at the tail end of this thing? And we don't know when this thing is going to end.
True. Very true. And I think during this time is when I've started doing these Winning Proof Unscripted, which my website guy was urging me to do for years. And I was, camera shy. And so I'm just like, you know what? Who cares?
That's right.
Who cares? So I just started doing them. So I think a lot of people will come out of this stronger and having accomplished things that they would have never accomplished before.
Michelle, I applaud you for your courage in taking that step. And you mentioned my midday Motivational Minute. I had been noodling on that before the pandemic. When the pandemic hit, one of my many mentors, Morgan Ingram in Atlanta, said, Larry, you've got to just do it. You got to stop thinking about it, talking yourself out of it. He said, my mentor, because he founded a video series on YouTube called the SDR Chronicles. And he shared that he was hesitant to move forward. And his mentor told him, hey, Morgan, if you don't do it, you're being selfish. All the reasons that you tell me, selfish. All it takes is one person that you're able to positively impact, and that makes it well worth it. So when he shared that with me, I said, I don't like to be called selfish because that's not what I represent. So that was on a Friday. And the following Wednesday, I think it was April 22nd, check it, I think that was a Wednesday, was when I went out on my back porch. I turned the selfie video on my camera. My shirt was all wrinkly, and I gave it my first one. And since then, I've done 20 episodes. The last 3 have been LinkedIn Lives. So I've been going live, and the midday Motivational Minute has actually turned to about 24 minutes where folks are asking questions, they're able to engage, and we're really able to talk about just positive, motivational, inspirational, sales, business, life topics. And I love it.
You can tell. Because your energy, I've been able to, sometimes I forget or I'm in the middle of a project. So the couple of times, 2 or 3 times that I've been a part of them, yeah, that's definitely, your energy comes through. Nobody's even going to notice any wrinkled shirt. I didn't. I don't know. So
my wife is very perceptive. She said, are you allergic to the iron?
Well said, wife. So yeah, and like I said, nobody is paying attention to that, and if they are, they're missing the message.
So true. Shame
What
on
they're
them.
saying. Yeah, exactly. So, okay, so you train sales professionals. Can you share 3 top things that you share when you teach sales professionals? What do you tell them?
Yes. Number one, don't be a me monster. Throughout the sales process, and in sales, naturally, we keep score. We have quotas. We have targets. That's me, 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 me. When you're a sales professional, it's about the prospect. It's about their needs, their wants. I think the term is empathy. You hear empathy. We should be exhibiting empathy even outside of a pandemic, stepping in someone else's shoes and looking at it from their viewpoint and really understanding what's going on. Number 2, you have to ask great questions, not the sugar-coated questions. We and I've been guilty of this. We ask the questions that we know are safe. No, as a professional, it's your job to ask the tough, the really tough and somewhat uncomfortable questions in order not to waste your time or your prospect's time. No one wants their time wasted. So if we're just talking on a surface level and sugarcoating it, we're not making any progress. There's a book called Spin Selling, Neil Rackham. He talks about the difference between, he calls it an advance, which is like making a first down in football, versus a continuation, which is you're moving, but you're not. It's like the dog chasing its tail, wearing itself out, but not going anywhere. It's the football player going sideline to sideline. You just ran 25 yards, but you only gained 1 yard. Uh-oh! We're trying to make advances, and that comes from asking the tough questions, listening, and keeping it focused on the prospect. The last one is to be bold, to be brave, and to pick up this 500-pound phone. I've talked to so many sales professionals. I've talked to so many startup founders and entrepreneurs that are afraid of the phone. You can't be afraid of it. Essentially, conversations and dialogue is really what makes things go. What happens is if you call someone and you're not prepared, you don't know your stuff, you're not looking at it through their lens, that's when you get into trouble. And that's why I believe, this is just my belief, that sales professionals get a bad rap. So many times, and my keynote is titled, Sales is Not a 4-Letter Word. Because so many times people think of sales, they think of the used car salesman who's shady. Are you ready to do a deal? Like the sales badger. Or when we were allowed to go to the mall, the mall kiosk person that wants to squirt lotion in your hand. Hey, I'm not Ashy Larry today. I'm moisturized. If you call me over the weekend, then I could use your lotion, but I'm good today. You're not solving a pain, a need that I have. So I encourage sales professionals to be professional, to work on your craft, to work on your questions, to care, to keep it about the other person, and ensure that you're just really serving others. If you keep that at the center of everything you do, it's magical. And everyone's looking for that magic dust, that silver bullet. It really comes from truly, genuinely caring about others and then having your actions back that up.
Yeah, well, that's for sure. And I know I catch a lot of my prospective clients off guard because one of the first questions I ask is, why do you want to write your book? And they don't know if it's to make money. No, that's
Survey says,
that's not going to be it. There has to be a bigger reason, other than that.
So true. And that comes down to Simon Sinek, start with why. What is your why? Mm-hmm. Well, why? Why do I work for Teamworks? Why do I want to help sales professionals, entrepreneurs, startup founders? I believe it's my responsibility to pass along what I've learned and to really pass along the good fortune, the blessings that I've been able to receive with others, because it's not fun just to keep it to yourself. I don't know anyone that's died that's been able to take their riches with them to the grave. So why not bless others and help others to accomplish their goals? And That's my why. Every morning I wake up, I'm really trying to help as many folks as I can.
Yeah, and you live that out. I know you do because I've heard your talks. And
I appreciate that. I'm trying to do more. I'm trying to go further, faster, and hopefully impact more lives, individuals, organizations. We're working on it.
And you're doing a great job because your energy, I mean, when you first get on a call or a screen, you know, it's just boom.
You better have your seatbelt on when I come in the room. I spoke to a young lady in Johannesburg, South Africa, and they're going to bring me in to speak to their women's group. And I said, this is fantastic, but make sure that your participants, they know that it's going to be coming at a fast pace. So they better have their seatbelt strapped on tight when I come up in the room.
Absolutely. Wow. Yeah. Well, you are always a delight to talk to, always a delight to interact with. And I mean, how can people get a hold of you? How, if they want to connect with you?
Oh, Michelle, that's great. The best way to connect with me is on LinkedIn, Larry Long Jr. You'll see my big mug. I've got a face for radio. I got a big old smile, and you'll say, yup, that's him. But I would love to connect with you on LinkedIn. I'm working on my website, so it's coming soon, LarryLongJr.com. It'll be ready towards the end of the year, but the best way to connect with me is on LinkedIn. Happy to connect, happy to help however I can.
That is wonderful. I thank you so much for being my guest and just sharing your, golden nuggets of wisdom and, your enthusiasm.
Michelle, thank you. I appreciate the great opportunity to join you in the Winning Proof on the Unscripted. This has been phenomenal.
I'm really excited. I was really excited, to have, especially Ed Dudley, and then you in the same day. That's phenomenal.
Double trouble.
Double trouble for sure. You guys. It's been absolute pleasure, and I just want to tell people, if you want to get in touch with Winning Proof, you can find me on my website at winningproof.com, and you can find me via email at winningproof@gmail.com, or you can call me. I have a Cali number, 714-797-3731. And until next time, thank you for being a guest on Winning Proof Unscripted.